Hello and welcome to Hanamade. I enjoy creating things and sharing the tips. So these are my fairy gardens that also serve as candle holders. Basically, I use any kind of flat container as a base and I glued all these items on it. So this is my favorite tray to use. Then I grab whatever little cottages, houses that are also candle holders. I made different trees, swings, wells. I collected moss, different types, some fairy or artificial flowers. Berries are fantastic. I have proper pruners, eyeglasses, reading glasses, and glue gun and stash of cartridges. And then a whole bunch of different items that will be great addition to fairy gardens. Here's my stash, so more artificial flowers. Ferns are fantastic. And then I collected a whole bunch of different items that can be used in fairy gardens and fairy houses. I make quite a few, so if I go to thrift store or yard sale, I cannot not purchase the little items that I can use. Basically, I crochet little baskets as well. There are different pebbles, little tiles that make great stepping stones. Birds, owls are fantastic, and little doll furniture. And a whole bunch of little attachments that are sparkly, pretty, whimsical, and can be added. And then I have stash of tools that I can use. So, oh, that's another box, more stash. So as I mentioned, doll furniture is fantastic, and I like that vintagey look. And then of course more moss. Moss is always can be used. Sometimes I buy it, sometimes I preserve my own. So ahead of time, I actually lay everything, the base for the fairy houses, how I would like them to look like. It is nice to match the cottage and the birds and things like that may go together, and also somewhat like the color theme. And eventually next day when I'm gluing it down, I add more stuff. So this is my setup. So, and here I give you some more instructions what I can do, how it can be done. Sometimes the visual help, however, you can do whatever you want, honestly. It's very simple. I feel like a kid. I'm having tons of fun, and you can improvise as much as you can. You can use whatever you want. Whatever you want. The real deal with fairy gardens is that you shouldn't be using anything that's plastic. You should be only using natural materials. However, I stepped up my game and I'm using different items. I have tons of fun with it. And here I just show you a few examples. I hope you can see it. The angle is not the best. But basically every kindergarten, fairy garden, I like to have a little tray on the bottom. So I use the clay trays that go under flower pots, or wooden boxes are fantastic. Shadow boxes like frames that are deep are great too. And then I first add the house, then some kind of tree, some kind of swing, some kind of well. That's sort of, I guess, my base for fairy gardens. And I'm having tons of fun with it, and definitely don't underestimate any materials. Anything can be handy and pretty and cool and will add charm. I have the other issue that there are plenty of choices what can be added, but I don't know when to stop. So moss is fantastic. I made video before about preserving moss. You basically use glycerin and hot water, and that way you make sure the moss is not going to become kind of fragile and fall apart. Make sure that if you're using glue gun, which is very practical because it dries fast, you do it outside. It does stink. Also make sure you don't burn yourself. So as you can see, I'm using a little wooden spatula or brush rather to attach some of the things that can burn me. A little tiny, I'm right now making a little tiny access path, which is pretty cool. And now I'm attaching moss to the roof. So that's the beauty, and maybe I shouldn't admit it if I'm planning to sell these. I love upcycling and recycling, and I definitely love saving items from landfill. And for this kind of project, it's super easy to do. So even if I see somewhere little tiny cottage or any other item that has got scratches or cracks, I don't hesitate to grab it because I can attach moss to it or a little leaf or a little flower and basically hide the fault that way. That said, I'm pretty sure fairies are not all that picky and wouldn't mind few faults. So as you can see, I am working around it and adding more and more stuff. Anything that you would find in the woods is fantastic. So I love the blueberries, I love the ferns. Sorry about my arm, I just got bad ankle and then I totally forgotten to check it out. The one rule I have for these fairy gardens that I am suggesting they can be used as candle holders, that I don't glue anything close to the house because I wouldn't want anybody to have a fire. The other idea is to add little battery operated fairy lights that are safer choice and will look pretty, and you can also add them on the edges and all through the little fairy garden. So I hope you get some good ideas from here. As you can see, it really is no science and there are no rules and you can use whatever you want. The fun part is layering the items and kind of adding that 3D image and different layers and making it pretty. Sometimes it doesn't hurt, and maybe I shouldn't admit to it. Pretend you're in Gulliver's world and you are very tiny and you're walking through the fairy house or fairy garden yourself. So what else shall I share? I love using moss, I love using ferns and ivy, English ivy, because they belong to the forest. Any kind of berries, pine cones are fantastic. I did pre-make those little trees, so it's just, I think I made a video as well, just a base of wood and a stick. It can be screw on or glued, and then I added flowers to it. Berries, I'm sure, like all bunch of sparkling things, beads, little charms, little chains, little anything, little and cute. There are tons of ideas online, but don't be afraid to use your own imagination and have some fun with it. So I'm almost done with this one, and then I'm grabbing box of my little fairy-like items. So I have little mushrooms, I have little potion bottles, and little animals, hedgehogs and mice. They are pretty cool. Any kind of little flowers are great. The important part is to make sure when you're gluing it down that you glue the whole thing, because the flowers are in layers and attached to the wire, and if you chop off the wire they may disconnect basically. So just make sure whatever you glue down you pull on it a little bit afterwards. One warning, when you use glue gun, you kind of always create those little strings. I hate them, even though in fairy gardens they can work as spider webs. So just be careful not to mess it up too much. Work with patience and make sure it's pretty. So you can also add a bunch of plastic animals, even spiders, caterpillars, snails will do a great job. I am also kind of thinking about adding epoxy water features. I think they will look really pretty, like a little running creek through the fairy garden or a little pond will be pretty neat. So that's the first example I was working on, and I will let you watch the rest of the examples on your own. I do hope that you enjoyed this and it kind of gave you some ideas, and maybe you will make your own fairy gardens. Thank you for watching Handmade. I hope you enjoyed this, and you can join me on Facebook or Instagram and follow me for more ideas. Thank you.